You always have to click.
Oh.
Sting Lee. Hey, everybody.
Ling, 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 ling. So we're gonna wait now. So let the viewers accumulate. Okay, now we're talking. Queen of Red.
It feels like it's getting faster.
Okay, so now
Quick.
this is good. This is super fast. It's within a minute.
9.
So you can.
Oh, look, Arcturus.
Oh, Ra. Yeah. So
maybe it's for the Raw Collective.
who knows? We're big.
We listened to Bashar and Lee Harris, whose videos I tweeted just this morning, and Lee Harris's energy update from January pretty much applies to this now moment here. Bashar talked about cycles of 9 and how numerology, everything adds up, 2 digits of 1 to 9. And that Ra told me about this, which accelerated me into a mind game of what happened the past 9 years. So what the heck, 9-year cycle just finished. And some of the things that came up, and we can go over them or not, but first big one was YouTube. I got on YouTube sort of as an experimental thing, similar to him, around about 9 years ago, maybe a little longer, maybe like 10, 11. But anyway,
mine is like 12 years.
Okay, but as a video uploader or as a viewer? As
an uploader.
Oh, okay.
I started first time I signed up with YouTube. I was uploading Starseed, Seeking Starseeds to Awaken. I have to actually check the date.
Okay, so how did you? Okay, but considering the 9 year, did you have a certain type or quality of content that you began to upload 9 years ago? Just out of curiosity.
Well, 9 years ago to be exact. Well, 9 years ago was what? 2011.
2010, so 2019, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12. Yeah, it's around 2011.
Yeah, that was when the refinement took place. This is about starseeds and the mission and the realization of who we are on this planet and what our purpose is. This was, you can say, 2011 was the refinement year of, okay, now this is the direction we're going.
Yeah.
So we've been going in that direction. I mean, I had over 600 videos, and during the time I had to erase belief systems that were actually, I call them rules, as in B rules. Everybody knows in secret what that means. Where I know this has no application anymore. We have changed. We have shifted. And I erased, I think, like 180 videos.
Yeah, same. A lot of videos.
Which kind of reduced my views because I erased them. I didn't set them to private. But that was the refinement point for.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. It was about
refining the art, the brush strokes, the paint, and really direction.
Okay, so you went through that in the cycle of 9 because
yes.
I see the next cycle as 9 as a refinement of what we. So it's even more. So whatever we've refined the past 9 years
gets refined again.
Yeah, as we replicate it. So for YouTube success, they say you want to just repeat what works for you.
Exactly.
So if you're writing about, if you're making YouTube videos about knitting, knitting Afghan scarves, and that's your most successful video, you might want to talk about, I don't know, crocheting Afghan scarves or the type of yarn I use for my Afghan scarves. That's the refinement.
Yeah, basically.
You don't want to just talk about my favorite types of apple juice, even though we love apple juice.
Yeah. Basically, what we have to do now is, as this year, new softwares have been developed. As you noticed, the internet had breakdowns. Amazon, Verizon, phone, WhatsApp, Instagram, they all had these glitches because there's new applications and thought forms because we have to reference our statistics now. Look back at what has worked for us, what didn't work. As the refinement, usually the refinement is like a mesh, like a sifter. And now we're being sifted even. See, it's called like in the Mayan calendar, these wave spells that we are called dragon spells. And it means it's getting tighter. Means you need to be divine to go through the eye of a needle. That makes sense. If you jitter around with your vortex and you don't have your ish together, you're not going to pass through. It's going to just create ruckus.
You were saying this morning how this rising, how what is for your path is just very specific for you.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why certain other paths just won't work.
Yeah.
Especially so when you are quote unquote righteous.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes more refined as we utilize our gifts and blessings, as Bashar has said that the as well as Orion Council, they talked about probabilities, but that 2020 being a year of contact for those who've put the work in.
Yeah, and
remember some of our friends were going, "Oh man, I knew I should have put more alien stuff on my Instagram channel, and I didn't do it." And they're they're scared.
Yeah, there's starseeds out there that have mundane topics, but actually this is the 1000% agree with Bashar. But it's also the energy spectrum that I'm getting is if you have you're in contact with ETs, your contact, you have experiences. Now, time to put your vote in. To as in you want contact, you want to be ready, you want to get over our fear. Physical contact can be established. Watch the video with Paola Harris and the Zendra portal. These people had physical contact on Mount Shasta. So this is happening. Also, Emery Smith did a contact meditation at Contact in the Desert. And that's what you missed. And 2 orange discs came after he did the CE5 protocol. They hovered to the left of us. They came in.
They made a DNA spiral.
And they made a DNA spiral. Everybody saw them. So... And we had one perpetrator in there that was screaming, "This is all crap. This is all bullshit. This doesn't make any sense." And he did the protocol. I did the same protocol as the ET Contact app that you can get in the Apple Store. I did it on Mount Shasta. I called in the ships with the laser. They answered. They came. This stuff is a reality now. This is no more, we need more evidence. There are places that you can go if you're divine enough, as in focused enough with a coherent thought form with people that believe in the cause. You can bring them in. Do not be afraid. I even had a friend that said that sometimes she looks into the mirror and they're standing on the other side of the mirror. And she's like, I'm just at that brink where they can step in and be physical. And we're like, I don't know if I can handle that. We have to get over this. Can I handle this?
Yeah.
It's coming in now. Let it in. Synchronicities out the wazoo. We're being bombarded. So yeah,
that's
Brandon.
What my girlfriend, one of my girlfriends, was saying to me yesterday, who I was hanging out with, was that she's visiting Sedona, and she's doing a job gig, and she said that the Airbnb, this mist started to appear on the balcony. I was just there with her last night, and she said once it started to appear, she heard it say, "Are you ready to see more of my form?" And she goes, "No, I'm not ready." Just like the time when so Sheba started flashing with the green light.
Yeah.
When I put the Moldavite under the full moon and had the intention of making contact, and then the contact started happening on my laptop where someone was talking through a dead battery.
Yeah.
Unplugged laptop and scared the crap out of me. So we think that we're ready, or we think that this is how.
We're actually ready. We're making the choice by the mind to choose fear over love still. There's nothing that's going to happen. Nobody's going to eat you. See, you have to understand the insanity of what's been propagated. There's going to be an invasion and a colonization. Earth has been through all of this, if you will. Earth is colonized by us hybrids. Then what? That doesn't make nobody a second or third or whatever first-class citizen. Right now, this is the battle of consciousness and positivity and staying in consciousness in a coherent form. So, my man Brandon Young here, who knows Emery Smith brought in the ships. I was sitting there. I had super high-tech hybrid friends around me that are not really online, but they have inputs. They can channel all types of languages. They can show me schematics. Like you see, this here in the back is only the beginning. Crazy talented people that have skill. They can demonstrate skills. Krista has met one that can move a glass across the table.
Yeah, I saw telekinesis.
So he showed it how he moved it a little bit. There's stuff happening. And we're not doing this as a circus act or for a show. These are cities, as in side effects of dormant self-aligning software protocols in our human genome that turn on when we do the job. And right now, it's about to do the job. Put your vote in for Contact. If you haven't checked Bashar, I suggest check that guy out. He gives you a practical sense of the matter of how to perceive and create reality and use permission slips to make it so and understand what it means to stay on a divine path. That's very important for us. So Contact is very real. Beings can come in. Now we have beings running through our house, sometimes when Krista travels, as she does every year, and she's not at home and I'm at home. I hear footsteps.
Danielle said there's all these entities here, and he sees someone running up and down from the closet to the living room.
Yeah, I saw a woman. It looked like she was from the 80s in a spacesuit, and she ran into the closet.
Yeah.
And I caught her like waking up, my eyes in a glimpse, and it was like whoosh. So I've seen without having to take anything artificial to alter my consciousness, because it's you can do that yourself. You are, if you will, you are drugs. Endorphin, tryptophan, tryptamine, HTP5, serotonin, endorphin, oxytocin. These are all biochemical drugs that induce altered states of consciousness within you. You're designed that way.
DMT, perhaps?
Yeah, DMT, dimethyltryptamine, that comes from your pineal gland. And if you can produce enough, the dying process will also stop, because DMT preserves. Science has shown that the cell from decay. So this stuff is all here. It's taking place where we're jacking up. More things happen. More miraculous things happen. More synchronicities that you see. Remember yesterday, 777, 888. It's all around us now. It's like we're in the program matrix.
We're in the program matrix of programming.
Basically, we're realizing that
we're realizing that we're influencing our reality.
Yeah, exactly. Consciously.
The synchronicities also operate because we are experiencing a more cyclical nature of time rather than linear.
Yes.
Linear being along a line, so past, present, future. However, when you are having your brain hemispheres synchronized, not only are you experiencing peace, but you're experiencing a real form of power, which is what Abraham Hicks has talked about in the law of attraction teachings for so long, which is just one of many spiritual laws. And that is the idea that we create our reality through our thoughts alone. And this is what I experienced when taking our friend Osiris's Ormus, which I had made a video. It's gone now. I think he stopped making it, then he started again. He was using sodium hydroxide. Anyway, we make Ormus. We make a gentle version, because sodium hydroxide was used in lye, L-Y-E. So if you've seen the Malcolm X movie with Denzel Washington in the 1940s, Black folks would straighten their hair with sodium hydroxide. And that's a toxic, in a very small amount, you're okay, but it's that gave me, I used to do that in the past, and I have 2 burn spots on my scalp. So I do not recommend, for all the sisters watching, do not perm your hair. Ladies, do not perm your child's hair if it's curly. So anyway, with that being said, that is very intense substance, and we had created original batches of galactobate with it. And when I took a sodium hydroxide version in 2014, I experienced what is called God consciousness, because I took a tablespoon of that. And I do not recommend walking around with God consciousness, as in seeing that you create your reality, because you will become obsessed with the cause and effect. And it is very ungrounded, and it's quite frightening. Yeah. But once you have the experience, which is Nithyananda says, experience is ultimate, or Terence McKenna said, have you even tried what you were talking about? Have you even tried this plant medicine? You can't really talk about certain things if you haven't even tried it, or you can talk about it, but the next level is having the actual experience. And some people talk about enlightenment and seeing the light, but what about creating the light? What about being responsible for everything? That is a very that is a very advanced state of being. And so with our Ormus, we've created a gentle natron version with the baking soda. And this, as an empathic person whose abilities have increased the past 9 years, because Orion Council said, if you are to channel, you will become a perceiver of energies. And as a perceiver of energies, what does that mean? That means clear knowing. That means maybe clear hearing, clear seeing, clear smelling, and clear. What's the fifth one? Clairvoyance is seeing. Clear cognizance. So one is.
I want to just say something.
Like empath. Empath.
Let me say something to the customer so nobody gets any ideas. Point is, to our experience, our Ormus is powerful, gentle in a way that is all organic. We're not adding any chemicals to it. The way we produce Ormus, period, is baking soda and Mediterranean salt and bokek, Israeli salt, and that filtered. And it's all organic, nothing else. And we work that as this is the best. We have a video where we showed we spin the water, we activate the water, we structure the water, we magnetize the water, and we elevate the photonic level with running it to a photonic activator.
Sedona water, by the way.
And it's Sedona water. We're sitting on an aquifer under us with millions of gallons of natural water habitat, and that is what we are using in our filtration system on a base level 7.2 to 10 pH. It can fluctuate, but that's enough for the body to handle it. And that has by itself, because you said gentle, in itself, the energetic construct is powerful. The organic compound is easy on the stomach, and it's gentle on the digestive system.
Plus, we are living on a giant quartz crystal. When you scrape away at the rock here, people wonder, what is the red rocks? The red rocks is iron. That's the red color, and it is on top of quartz crystal and limestone. Then geologists found that 300 feet below the surface, we have hematite that generates free energy, and they don't understand why that's happening. But we have underwater rivers, waters, the aquifer, and this place has huge magnetic anomalies. So when you look at Rendlesham Forest incident, why does the guy's binary code translate to talk about coordinates like Sedona? Well, if this is a contact place and everyone's seeing spacecraft here, the ETs study things like the axis shift, which they talked about in the latest video. They said precession of the planet. I didn't know what that meant. Precession is the pole shift they were trying to talk to me about in 2013, which scared me. But it's shifting at 35 miles a year. And when you have ET craft, of course they're going to look at certain places for very specific reasons. They're not just not showing up in Kansas because you're special. They might show up somewhere where you have high geomagnetic fluctuations, where you have a certain type of atmosphere, or who knows what's underneath the surface of the planet. And this has me thinking about things like where we live. And so moving has been a very huge theme. I've noticed 2 huge waves of moving since moving to Sedona and since living in Hawaii. Is in 2012, the 9-year cycle included a huge wave of folks who thought the spaceships were coming. Who knows? Some people have been taken on spacecraft. Lots of people have, on and off, and it feels like a second wave is somewhat going on, but people are getting a call and a push to move again.
Yeah, it's a second wave pattern that's happening, where people feeling the call to move. A few that we have met already have moved.
Let's talk about that, because as people who move, I've moved 19 times in my life. 7 of those times were within Sedona, but some people find it frightening what we did, which is move from Europe across the Atlantic Ocean, leave everything behind. And for us, it's kind of normal, but not for everybody else out there. What do you say? You said that the Ra Collective revealed itself to you through cars, through paint, through transmissions. You channeled yourself from the past as you're assisted by a group of 14 felines that are here to bring about this photonic sand. What else could you say to people who, I don't know if they're maybe waiting for a sign, or they had all the signs, but they're too scared to make a change?
It's action right now. Right now it's action. it's not about waiting or too scared, whatever. This is like action, like doing it, like no more holding yourself back from where the highest excitement is, and going forward with that and making it happen. And this is what we're doing, and that's what I do. I'm fully immersed in, yeah, how can you say, in my purpose and what I'm supposed to be doing and why I'm here. So yeah, ramble it. Like the dragon is coming out right now. The dragon demands for you to become your own dragon keeper, as in willing, as a commander, commanding your life, unfolding into that what is purposefully for you. Meaning you're sitting on that dragon right now. Now you gotta handle it. Now you gotta handle the strings. You gotta pull it and really be in that you're mastering the direction that your life is taking, and not life takes you directions. You take the direction also by divine input, knowing what direction to go for. But because crystal clear, you will be shown, even with relationships, relating, and friends coming in and out, you will be shown what's consistent. If you follow the inconsistency, it's only going to get worse. If you follow consistency, it's only going to get better. So some people will crash, and some people dip and come back, and some people have a steady flow upwards. Now it's observation skill in looking at what works, and stop trying to do what doesn't work. Stop trying to figure out people. Stop trying to help them. You're not here to heal your parents. Same thing. You're not here to heal your brother or heal the planet. You have enough to do to nurture yourself and lead as a positive example, and the others will see that you're doing that with yourself, will automatically align. That's actually the formula.
And just by nature of time, is some cold hard earth facts. It would help me reflect this. Some people won't make any moves because it's about root chakra. A lot of this plan is based on the 3 lower chakras, and it doesn't mean that we're not good at it or we can't handle it. It just means a lot of humanity is focused in this way. They're not really, how can I say, experiencing oneness and treating each other in a way, in a sense that we are all from the same source. They don't have these sorts of concepts within their grasp. And they're looking at things for individuals like us here on this live show, in this chat, is they're looking at things like, well, how much money have you got? And what do they look like? Or can I have some power over them? And some people operate their lives like this, but what I've noticed in the past 9 years is for those folks who've been given gifts and blessings, because we are allowed to be here on this planet, and we are all given gifts. There are people who've been running around with the nonsense, and while it's not our place to facilitate, because you notice, with the exhaustion that Lee Harris has been talking about, is there's certain battles you just can't fight, and some people have nothing to do with you, or you're not changing the direction of the wind in their sails. And so he says that might result in a feeling of disempowerment. But one thing I can say, which is kind of sad, is that once you step away, you become the observer, and you kind of notice their third dimensional default programs by which they operate. Is some unfortunate events tend to happen to people who stay in that linear, third dimensional, rigid mindset. That's just right angles, and it's like super masculine, and there's no room for change. There's no negotiating with them. There's none of this. If you're living in a box, don't tell them that they live in a box. They hate that. Everyone wants to be open-minded, and
they want the appearance.
They want the appearance of being spiritual.
Yeah, but they're not.
They want the Star Trek badge.
Yeah, but they're not Star Trek.
Che Guevara T-shirt.
Yeah, but you're not Che Guevara. You're not fighting the government with guns in the streets.
So one thing I've been learning, maybe you have a different word of the year, because I've been practicing peace, but compassion has been coming up over and over and over again, because when you are looking at life from an eagle eye perspective, you could see where, okay, you're doing like this, so you keep let's say you keep stealing from your husband, right? You keep stealing your husband's money, and you can see the timeline where everything catches up with them because there's a thief.
Yeah.
And so where there's evidence in the pocket, like that animal in Fantastic Creatures, where to find them, you can only put enough jewelry inside until it starts to kind of, the bones come out, right?
Yeah.
So when you're looking at eagle eye perspective, think about the extraterrestrials on a spacecraft. You see, okay, you keep doing this, this is where you're going to end up.
Yeah.
And it's it's not fun when you're unconditionally loving of those characters. It can be one of the hardest things as a healer is to watch people get sick and remain sick. That is so hard.
Yeah, but unconditional love means if they decide to go that route, like I had a woman that attained a Ra cell from me that wanted to leave
the planet.
Yeah, and I said, you can buy this expensive piece, but if your choice is that you want this brain tumor to grow and take you out of there because you're convinced you can help from the spaceship, then my cell cannot interfere with your will. That's your power. I can offer the path of you staying longer and doing the job from here, but if you decide to override what I'm giving to you, I have no chance in assisting anything. That's your willpower. And this is the right use of will. Right now, we are learning to go from free will, I can do what I want to do, it doesn't matter the consequence, to divine will. And I said that before, I keep repeating myself, but I'm saying this for those who haven't heard that. Divine will means, what am I supposed to do? Something happens in front of me, do not be responsive or reactive. Be somebody that acts, active, not an actor, because we also found out there are people out here, you know, in the movies when you have the main actor and then you have people running around, these are the extras. So there's a difference between people that embody the soul, that don't run on script, they stream their oversoul, embodying themselves here now, and others that run scripts. And if you run a script, you're an actor. And if you're an actor, you're a shell. And if you're a shell, you're not being real. So many, many people have these tapes as in personality program routines, as in scripts that run them, thinking that's them. I call it the imaginary me. But you're not the one you imagine to be. You're three different personalities. Make one out of that. It's the one that I am, the one that you see, and then the one in my mind that I want to be. So you see in a triplex type of microbic system sitting in front of you, but if you go into the oneness of the feeling, you see the one that I am, whether the camera is running or the camera is not running. As I'm speaking also, this is not scripted. You are allowed as a YouTuber or whatever creator to script your input.
Yeah.
But if you're working for Hollywood and you have commercial scripts, this is all a shallow situation and you become a shell. You're an actor. And the funny thing is, in the past, not naming names, we had professional Hollywood actors that failed on camera because without a script, they were lost. And that shows you the reality of who's really, really real here and can really say, this is me in my representation of how I perceive the world and my experience, or I need somebody to script me because I'm clueless and I have no direction. And now we're learning to develop discernment of who's a scripted actor that runs program routines and who is real. Like very, very clear. I mean, you have made
which is so fascinating, because with the advanced extraterrestrials, they can undo these sorts of programs in a second. So you think about that type of power or intelligence, and we're looking at ourselves as these divinely coded human beings who create their own realities. And the game becomes quite interesting. It doesn't
scary.
Become scary
because you realize you're ultimately creating everything that you respond to. You create it.
You ever look back the past couple of years and you said, "Oh my goodness, I really wish something."
Yeah.
Or I had visions of this,
yeah.
and then it manifested.
Yeah, yeah.
What does that feel like?
It feels like I'm in power. Have you ever looked at that any social media contact, any friendship, whether good or bad, that you engage because you responded to, you created, no one else? Have you ever looked at that? And how does that feel? You could have said, I'm not moving to Sedona, or I'm not moving in with those people, or I'm not going to hook up with those people. You could have said, I'm staying at home, I'm doing something else, but you engaged in it. You created all of this.
You know what though? You know what's happening? those of us who have had these synchronicities en masse, just reading a book and the TV says at the same time, and you just talked about that subject is a triple synchronicity. What's happening now with human beings is we manifesting one by one, and now we're doing it in threes. Because what we've done is we've co-created experiences together involving, I would say, acquaintances.
Yeah.
Where we were both involved in manifesting that experience.
Yes.
And this has happened outside of our relationship. I have this with a girlfriend of mine, and she was okay, how should I explain this? When it's like fractals. So he told me about this book I have to read. Yeah. And I don't remember if I came across this knowledge around the same time, because I read the book after I was talking about this book before I read the book. I was talking about it. I think it's because it was a short video. So anyways, I saw the video, I read the book, and I met the person who wrote the book. Yeah. And he goes, "Oh my gosh, maybe you wouldn't have known about that person if I hadn't told you about that person." Then I met that person, whatever. And I told that person, "Hey, you need to go on this website to meet certain people that are more like you." That person goes on that website that I recommended them and contacts a friend of mine. The universe brings me and my friend together, and my friend should not have known that I was friends with this friend who contacted them. But psychically, that friend just said, "Hey, you know this person? Did you just hang out with that person?" It was so weird how that worked.
But see, we created
that.
So
we created, so that's
we established that.
Yeah, that's 4 people getting involved in a fractal, and we all know each other. And now, so this friend that I met actually gifted Ra and made a connection, like it's okay, like a friendly gesture, we can all connect kind of gesture. So that's a 4. That's not even trifold. That's a 4-way manifestation.
Yeah, meaning these fractals basically
that all are
got sucked into what
the universal.
Sounds cocky, but I think I initiated the creation by saying you gotta check that book. I enforced that.
Yeah, I talked about it in 2014.
Yeah, but here's the thing: is I know I enforced it because we were talking about altered states of consciousness, blah blah blah, and I said if you want to go deeper, you need to read that book, and then you got it.
Okay, you got the points.
Yeah, give me those points, really, because I know you didn't have that book in you, and you had no intention of buying it. Yeah, it's not to get points; it's just to evaluate how powerful we are in creating. And Krista knew a friend.
But you're like, how did you manifest that person responding to you? I don't know.
Yeah, this is an impossibility, but I'm like, you could have told me this 5 years ago, and it would have been like impossible. That person's not going to be talking to you. It's not going to happen. And that happened. That blew my mind. I'm like, I couldn't even fathom that
Why
fractal.
is this person talking to you?
So, but also bringing it back to how powerful you are creating. When I lived, I hate to bring it up, but I have to really talk about it. I lived with a group of people where I said, yeah, let's all get together. Let's get this house. So I created it. I agreed. It's an adhesive. I said yes. So I moved in. But I also, when I dissolved that, see, my sound is the sound of dissonance in the Mayan calendar. I'm blue spectral nights. And the spectral sound is the sound of letting go. Like going into, we enchant to dissolve the illusion of what's fake. That's our job. So I went into a group of people that were all assimilating scripts, and I'm conscious. So when I had it, and my stuff was like this, bottoms up, I dissolved the rental contract, dissolved the friendships, and moved out of the situation that I had created. And that was entirely in my power, where the others were, sorry to say, like leaves. They didn't act up according to what you're supposed to be doing. And I said, this is over. We're parting ways here. We're splitting. Don't breach my boundaries. We are not friends. This was a lot of misuse, and the contract is over. I went to the rental office. I dissolved the situation, gave the house back to the matrix, found my own connection, and created my own thing. So I am empowered when stuff basically when ish hits the fan. So that's for all of you listeners out there. If you in a toxic relationship where stuff becomes annoying, you can say, I'm no longer making myself subject to having to listen to this. I'm turning the TV off. Program modality is if you live with somebody, you have to dissolve contracts and stuff, find another place. It's all uncomfortable, but that's when you grow. Do not be afraid. You don't have to take shit anymore. But sorry, I have flies here. That's really
that's moving into your purpose.
The person who initiates that is the person involved.
Yeah, some people are, I don't want to say a fast track. No, some people are in a success wave, and what they are creating is they are making creations that work for them, and there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with having shit work for you, as in if you build a business or a company, if you create a relationship, if you get a pet, if you take up a new hobby, if you buy a machine, these things can work for you, and situations and connections can work for you. So
how do you know they work for you? How do you know that works?
That's a tough question. As someone who thinks holistically,
I'll give you an example. Maybe you have a download. Maybe you have a download to this. When I know something works for me, it's like I'm buying a saw because I'm building these Forganite activators, these plates right now, these big machines that I'm building right now.
It makes me money.
No. Let me break it down in the detail. It makes you money. That's one aspect. That's nice. It's a side effect. That's nice. But listen, the minute I buy the saw, I'm getting a 35% discount that day on that saw that I buy. That's one.
Yeah.
I get it free delivery to my home, pre-assembled, and I'm like, oh, I'm not even asking any questions. That's what happened.
Nice.
And then I buy wood, and they're like, yeah, they're off the shelf. Some of them are a little off. Why don't you take these wooden panels, which would be $75? Take them for free.
Yeah.
Because the manufacturer had like nicks and kinks in there, which I don't care because I cut them to pieces and I cut the nice parts out. So this was given free. I got a 35% discount that day. And I kind of so measured the board that I would cut, and everything fit. Intuitively, everything fell into place. I listed that thing for $2,000 and it sold within 6 hours. That means falling into place. So how do you reflect on that when things work for you?
It sounds like the Esther Hicks teaching of being in your vortex.
Yeah.
When it works for me, what I feel as an empathic, telepathic human is our heart chakras are in resonance. The person at the counter is friendly to you. They smile, they look at you in your face while you're speaking. They look you in the eye when they're speaking to you. They respond to the topic, or they have something helpful, some information that you needed to hear.
The waiter.
That propels you forward on your journey. It's not trying to pull you into the past and control you or whatever.
It's negative belief system control that gives you a negative reference. Thus, affirming thus that you manifesting that you think and see. I'm unlucky. I'm pessimistic. I knew this was
like a motor that won't start.
Yeah.
It's like running a tape. It's okay.
Victim mentality. This always happens to me. Yeah. I knew this class. I knew you want to pour the water over me.
You had a really good way, instead of slamming someone and say, well, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
Why don't you change? You had a really nice way of asking them. You ask them a question.
Yeah.
And then they start to recalibrate they start thinking more solution oriented.
Yeah, make them aware of how they feel. So what I do with people with some people say this could be manipulation. It's not manipulation. Somebody says, well, I went to door number 1 and then I went to door number 2 and door number 3. And then I say, oh, I don't know which door to pick. And I say, well, which door in your memory gave you the highest excitement, Bashar? Well, it was actually door number 2. And I said, you have reasons. And then they have, Bashar calls it the permission slips to make it so. Like for our linear mind still needs to understand that it is so. And then I say, well, how would that feel for you to go there? And they're like, I'm actually excited to go there. And then I say, well, what's your choice? and these people pick the right door. I have this when the Arcturian Council comes in. Some people say my angels tell me I must, or my higher self tells me I'm late, and all of this stuff. This is manipulation from the subconscious mind. Muppet show characters fabricated as on a Hollywood basis. That is unreal. That's you doing it to yourself. The extraterrestrials, however, they ask you, how does it feel? They lay timelines before you, when you're in that altered state, they say, but how does it feel if you, where is this gonna go? Like,
I'll tell you how it feels.
Yeah, and then when you have a good feeling, they smile at me. When they smile, I follow that.
How does it feel? People's aura sparkles when they have a thought that they're really excited about.
Yes.
It's about 3 feet above their physical bodies, and it looks like a little diamond circle that if once part of the circle was holographically diamond white light and the other was black, it looks like it's moving like this, and it flickers. So you see when people are emotional, sometimes it goes around the neck. That's how I can tell. But as you guys have sensed a little build up here, I think we kind of covered a lot of territory. But
yeah, we can talk about the planets right now are testing us. It's like left, right, upside down, feeling good, feeling bad. See today I have like a little bit of red eyes and I feel a little bit beat. It's something that's pressuring me. Yesterday I had more power. The psychic vortex energy, vorticular is fluctuating. What you have to hold is your center. As Esther Hicks says, when you're in your center, that's the eye of the hurricane. Everything works for you. Nothing goes wrong.
Remember we said this morning about my design isn't makeup, and
oh yeah, I said like if Krista would decide tomorrow to work for a famous makeup company with all the money in the world, she might her video might not blow up or might not go viral because that's totally not her path. Or her video blows up and then the company goes cut and everything stops because it's not her path. It's like when you're not on your path, things are actually not working. It's when they say when you're traveling. At least 20, 30 years ago, when the Colorado River through the Grand Canyon was like actually you could travel it. Right now, it's disappearing because of the Hoover Dam. They would say stay in the center of the river, because if you're with your boat and you're going through like a faster development stage, this is called a cataract. When the water fluctuates faster, you can get hit by debris outside the riverbed. So the safest is to stay in the center, but that is also when you are in the eye of the hurricane. You stay in the eye of the hurricane. Outside is all the debris flying. So as these fluctuations happen, try to navigate through space-time by staying centered and staying with you. As in cosmic rationality, what am I supposed to do? And that's our test right now. We're being
something that people have been talking about recently is the discovery of their own traumas.
Yeah.
And to be quite honest, I'm not fully understanding what a core trauma is, because when you are on your healing path, we're talking about strengthening your core, but also not letting things get to your core, and how these archons and whatever, they try to get to your core. And it's like they chew at your beliefs, and that's in the 5th layer of the aura. So what I've discovered is traumatic events that can happen since in utero pre-birth trauma, like your mom wants to abort you or something like that. Is we carry these sorts of traumas in our auric energy field. And as we get older, hopefully, or by chance, by divine intervention from our own witty intelligence and willpower to heal ourselves, we can learn what those are. It's like seeing a black cloud in someone's back because you're a massage therapist and you get the vibe that that's not a good energy. You need to put your hands there. So seeing that is what has been happening. I feel more and more in this last 9 years. I identified just two weeks ago one of my core traumas, like assuming it's a core trauma, and it's been a battle emotionally, I would say, psychologically, And you know, and so, but I have to tell you, it's very, very liberating when you get out of denial, because it's kind of like living in a box for such a long time, and you didn't know you were in that box. See, because like I was saying earlier, if somebody just, people can't just tell you who you are and what you've experienced. You know, this is why it's so important for those of us who have the privilege and the mobility to work with the healer, to work with a psychic reader, to work with a doctor, to work with an expert, and to work with a guide, is to go about and actually go and do that. Once you step into the action, a lot of stuff can come up for you, because what he's talking about with scripts is we also can script characters and imaginary identity. So our healer calls it imaginary me. And a lot of us have, it's like living with a mask. If you ever dreamt of somebody who shows up with wearing a mask, that's usually not a good thing. And I'm not talking about festive Shakespearean midnight summer elven fun. We're talking about people coming in with their desire body to trick and deceive. And yeah, of course, we know from eagle eye perspective is that they are deceiving themselves. But when we are trying to figure out our lives and why stuff isn't working and what's going on, so the healer tells us something like that, it's hard to sometimes put yourself in the other person's shoes, because if you're especially if you're on the path of authenticity, being your true self. And I don't feel that you guys really struggle with authenticity that much, but I do have people who have followed my Orion Council work. One guy, when I opened up the channel, they said to him that he is soulless. And I thought, oh my God, maybe that was an astral trickster, saying that to this poor guy, because of course he has a soul. Like, what the heck does that mean? And one of you guys sent me a video within the last 7 days about being soulless versus being an actor. So instead of going into a fear response, I just sent this to him anyway. He probably didn't want to hear it. But I said, maybe this is what that channeling was about, is you've been operating according to certain scripts. And this is really common with our parents' generation, I feel. You're lucky if you haven't had to deal with it, but I've had to deal with my parents' generation. They run a tape. So if I want to go extraterrestrial with them and talk about spaceships, this is my desire body, right? My astral, my Ka body, which, by the way, gets strengthened through the experience of sexuality with yourself, with another person, no matter what gender they are. And so especially for people from a parent's generation who may have had a weakened desire body, they go mental, they go into mind and logic, and rather than feeling. So the young people now who can astral project and have lucid dreams and all this, they don't really struggle so much as we do with, well, what is it that I want? Us millennials, we have a lot of, like, if you had controlling authoritarian parents that always told you what to do, because I know almost all my international friends from New York City had to deal with that, and don't be a disappointment to your family, do the right thing, because that generation is all about getting physical, like post-war generation.
Physical safety.
Get your physical safety, get your objects. And so millennials are like, wait, I have access to everything. I don't need all of that stuff. Y'all are superficial. So when they start running these tapes, like, well, is it making you money, that job? Or is that relationship going to provide for you? Or do they dress a certain way? People really think like this. And this has to do with the third eye, is having to look at some ugly facts. But I just want to say, if you guys are in survival mode, you don't need to worry so much about these other people. I keep saying, focus on the 4 people closest to you that will heal your psychological stress, and, get paid, obviously, especially spiritual people. If you're in a depression, you need spirituality, because that helps you stop rejecting yourself, because a lot of old religion from the age of Pisces teaches us things like we're not worthy, and you have to just believe and pray 50 times at the statue, and it's people do it with emptiness. So I'm just going off on a tangent here to say that with the third eye, with the Oracle decks, with all this stuff we've been doing 9 years, there is an effect. The results are popping up. So we can look at Lee Harris says, ask yourself, what do you want to do for the next 7 years? He's talking about 7. So he's saying, what do you want to do the next 7 years? My stepdad always says, what's your 5-year plan? And, you know, as a 20-something, I'm in my 30s now, but in my 20s, I wasn't thinking about my 5-year plan. Okay. My stepdad was, he's all about 5-year plan. He's like, and
that's
anyway.
nice, but also can you execute when, what does abundance mean? Having the ability to do when you need to do it. So if you can direct, like if I have, I don't know, $600,000 tomorrow, then I can buy land. I don't need 6 years to wait. If I have a financial plan where it takes me 6 years to make $600,000 here, then I have to wait. But you be flexible. Allow yourself the openness that you can say, well, in the next 7 years, I want land. I want a dome. I want a workstation and a factory where I produce everything out of there. Independent forever. Going into agriculture and water systems and bigger systems that I'm building, and therapeutic beds and even stations and ascension chambers building construct. That's the next 7 years. Well, how that's gonna unfold, it's can be next year, can be the start off, it could be in 3 years.
Okay,
so take it lightly.
I'm gonna get invited to an event where I get to channel for a group of people. In a super safe environment. I'm gonna be super safe. My physical body.
How many people are gonna be in the crowd?
Between 10 and 100.
Why 10 and 100? But see, this is important psychologically. Why you're saying 10 and why not 2,000?
Well, because it's easier to manifest.
So your belief system tells you it's tougher to manifest 2,000 people. But see, this is what we're doing. You believe it's easier to manifest 10 people than 2,000. Why is that?
I don't know. Why is the 7 years and not 2? Like, don't put the pressure on
me. No pressure. I'm saying don't pressure yourself. Let the universe bring as many people as are required for you to make that happen. Don't confine it to
You're saying, say to the universe, bring as many people as are required? Oh, boy. Are you sure you want to open that floodgate?
Okay, see, now why are you having a belief system that says it's a floodgate? See? Look, catch yourself.
Look, being on stage as a rapper is much different energy than calling in an extraterrestrial collective, trying to teach about the afterlife or something. Well, it's a totally different frequency.
Well, who says that? Confucius? Who says that?
Oh, you know where I see myself? At the Sedona Performing Arts Center.
Good.
Ooh, yeah, that's where I'm going to be
900 people. Why not? The audience fits like roughly 900.
I could do 30 minutes like Lee Carroll.
I say you can do an hour. I've seen Krista going on for an hour, so I know she has the capacity.
Ooh, thanks, babe.
So I'm not trying to diss her. I'm pulling her chain to show her you have more potential that your belief system is allowing you to create. So erase those permission slips of belittling yourself and get bigger.
You know what else is going to happen?
Because you're bigger.
Someone's going to create a compendium to some smart publisher is going to come approach me. Oh, you made 9 books. You wrote 10 books now?
Yeah.
10 books, they're going to say, let's put this together into your best teachings and going to publish that. And it's going to go into the bookstore and translate into Spanish.
And without giving anything away,
Papi.
Let's attract a documentary. Without giving anything away.
Okay.
We manifest Gaia, coast to coast, anything that has a bigger and popular network that will feature us in the future. Yeah, in the future, you will see us featured there because we are making it so.
We're manifesting it.
And from there, by next year, we'll see the explosion with conscious subscribers and us getting bigger.
Yeah.
You know, working on our cause. To give you my cause real quick. Building a landing platform for interdimensional craft, and people come to a healing retreat that they can make that so without fear and preparing themselves, getting total recall in an ascension chamber activated. I have to complete download to set it up.
Yeah.
Now I'm working the business to move the resources. Case closed.
I'm going to be on a major spiritual news network. I'm going to be featured there. I'm also going to have friends that live near me that visit me. So
loving friends
who I can see on the weekends and read books to them, and they read books to me. That that we can cook together with, that we all get along with them. And while my family's in really good health, also my online subscribers are going to be having ET contact experiences, so they're going to be probably talking about that a lot more on Instagram.
Yeah.
And okay, guys, we're going to wrap this up.
Yeah.
The shop is going to be closed for a month from July 8th to August 8th for inventory season. I just want to say, get in your orders. I've got 10 Ormus left in my shop.
How can I boot this? How can I boot this person here? How can I boot him?
No, it's already hidden.
I want it out. I want him out.
Okay.
Out.
I think it's this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, okay. And how many Ormus do you have on your shop?
Will you give me some when you close your shop?
Of course. So whatever I don't sell, he sells.
I have 15 Ormus, and if there's more requirement, I'll just make more.
I have lots of Skolosites. You have Jedi keys in your shop also.
Yeah.
But you're gonna keep your shop open.
She's gonna do a grandeur travel to Europe, so she's going to be going for a month.
You're not supposed to tell me where I'm going.
Well, you know. Oh, sorry. I mean, it's going to be many places.
Cover's blown.
No, it's going to be many places.
Hey, that's a private proprietary knowledge.
Okay, so well, you don't know where. The beans. Well, there's going to be paparazzi.
Papa has a soft spot for our subscribers.
Sorry, I didn't mean to say anything, but many places that she is going to visit. So she's doing inventory. So her store next week will close.
Or just vacation. Well, this is this 9-year. Well, we just did this today. This was the 9-year inventory, and as far as YouTube, and online stuff, having an online store pays my rent.
Yeah.
And so please don't underestimate the power of your website, and that gives you the freedom to live off grid. And so many people are moving and they're renovating the van and putting a bed in it so they can just move whenever they want. This is just the mentality of a lot of Americans that I've met, is I can live anywhere. So this is in the consciousness of these reincarnating Atlanteans, and we have so much privilege. Lemurians. We have so much privilege living in America. It's still a very young country, and we have so much space here to do and build. And I just want to say, well done for those of you who have created your dreams. Don't stop dreaming. And if you struggle with that, I know I've struggled with dreams a little bit, is you want to really create a conscious practice before your dream state, and do what Lee says or do what my stepdad Patrick says, which is have a 5-year plan and allow yourself to receive. So just like in the Orion Council Here book, they're teaching us how to open the heart chakra. Like, they were trying to help my mom with that, because my mom has really struggled with her heart because she's had so much abuse and pain in her life. So as you can actually instead of getting mad at other people for manifesting it, because I used to get jealous of rich people in pools on Instagram, right? But instead of getting mad about that, I have to think, okay, thank you, rich person in the pool, you're showing me what I can create. No matter if it's a fake or posed picture, that's what that person experienced. And we really can do a lot within our God-given limits. So is enjoy the heck out of your God-given limits, and don't stop dreaming, don't stop expanding your mind. We have cyberpunk movies, steampunk movies coming out to show us think big. Ask your Aquarian friends. If you're kind of bored in life, Aquarians will like raw.
Find crazy ones. I'm the 3rd decade. I'm 15th of February. That's where the Cooksters are. We're more flexible than the ones in the first decade. The early borns are a little conservative. Yeah. Sorry, my fellow Aquarians. But you gotta get a little bit off the deep end.
The freaks. You want to be a freak.
Yeah, you gotta be a freak. Yeah, because it's more flexible, more fun.
Do it. Be weird. Be different.
Leave yourself open.
Don't conform.
Yeah.
And enjoy your life.
Yeah.
So we'll see you guys next time. Have a great day.
Yeah. End stream. Share the thing.